Hey everyone, Tony here with RcHelpDotCom, and I thought I'd show you guys the Great Plains Edge 540T before I crash it. The kit went together really simple. The hardest thing is putting the horizontal stabilizer through the fuselage and then putting on the actual elevators. It takes about 6 hours depending on what kind of epoxy you actually use. I got my DX6i back there just to show you guys kind of a size comparison and how big this plane is. It's not real big. It's only got a 49.5-inch wingspan, and it only weighs just shy of about 3.5 pounds. So for the size of the plane, it's extremely light. The wheel pants, the landing gears, and the front nose piece are all fiberglass. Everything else is balsa wood construction with monocoque covering. The fuselage hatch is plastic, and it is held down by 7 magnets. I have set up all the control throws on all the ailerons, the elevator, and the rudder, and I'll show you guys those here in just a second. The motor that I'm using is a Taycan, I think that's how you pronounce it, 0.32 size. You can get it from hobbyparts.com, and it works great. I'm using the Hobbywing 60 amp ESC, and it fits perfectly in this plane, and the testing that I've done on it, it never so much as had to breathe hard in order to power that motor. It's a big motor, it's 770 kV, it weighs 210 grams, so it is quite heavy, but I'm running a 13x8 prop, and with that I'm getting way more than a 1-to-1 thrust to weight ratio. This thing's probably pulling about 4 pounds, maybe 4.5 pounds, and I've only got a 3.5 pound plane. I'm using the high-tech 82MG servos. They're metal gear. They're rated at 0.10 second at 6 volts. I'm also running 6 volts to them, and that's one of the reasons I went with those instead of the Futaba S3115s. The 3115s want to run on 4.8 volts, but I couldn't go any lower on the ESC or the BEC voltage than, I think it was 5.2 volts, so I'd end up burning those up pretty quick. So let's take some up-close shots at exactly what we got going on here. Here's a picture of the cowl, and the cowl comes off really simply just by pulling up on the back and then pulling it out and getting those 2 dowel pins out of their little slots in there. Inside you can see that it is nothing but balsa wood. It's got mostly balsa and 1/8-inch plywood. It's a real light construction, but it's extremely strong where it needs to be. If we take a closer look, you'll notice you got a spar here, there's a spar down here, and a spar down here. 3 of them on that side, 3 of them on the other side that are all carbon fiber. This not only keeps the plane extremely lightweight, but also extremely rigid and strong. Now, if you've been reading my progress on my website, www.rc-help.com, you'll know that I kind of had a little issue with the rudder. The issue was the rudder was mounted. You can see the holes there and there. This is where the servo was mounted. It just had a double-sided servo horn, and it was called a pull-pull setup. Some of you guys may be familiar with it. Some of you guys may not be familiar with it. Back here, you can see there's a tube here and a tube here. Those tubes go all the way back, and they extend out underneath the elevator. What that's going to do is it's going to put constant pressure on both sides of the rudder so that it's much more precise and accurate. I know it's kind of dark, but here you can see the way I got it set up now. Now I've got the servo mounted directly into the fuselage. The elevator is actually on the other side, and then it's just got a direct link straight to the rudder. This is your normal setup, but there is a little bit of play that is in that rudder. And if you're doing 3D competitions, IMAC flying, something like that, that little bit of play could actually hurt you, but for just regular sport flying, I don't think it's going to affect me much. Now, you may or may not be able to see this very well. This is actually what went through the rudder, and you had these little ends. They would go on there. Then you had this string. You can see the little gold collet. That actually clamps down, and then you put super glue on the string. Yes, this is a string, which is one reason why I was kind of worried about it. But after tests, the string is actually extremely strong. It just doesn't like heat. I was actually trying to shrink the monocoque whenever I hit it with the heat, and it just melted it. But this goes directly through there, and you got one connection here, one connection here, strings coming off of both sides, and it constantly just pulls it. Now, I do still have the option to actually put the pull back in. I do still have the hole right there. And one thing that sucks about a kit like this that looks this good is when you have to actually cut out a piece of the monocoat and expose a huge hole. The next thing we're going to look at is the battery. I'm running a Gens Ace 4S 2200 milliamp 25C battery. With a 2200 milliamp battery at 25C, that's going to give me 55 amps that I'm able to draw out of this battery without overpowering it. It does actually have a rating that's a little bit higher than that for a burst rate, but I don't think this motor will ever even get close to it. As you can see, I've had to slide my battery up quite a bit because of having to put the servo back in the back of the tail. As far as radio gear goes, I've got my main receiver sitting right here. This is the AR6200. And then I got my satellite receiver sitting right here. Notice that both of the antennas are pointed in a different orientation. That way, depending on which way this plane goes, I will never lose signal. Now, one thing I know you guys want to see are the throws on this actual airplane. I don't have 3D throws set up yet. I have low rate and high rate. The 3D throws, I would have to have like a DX8 or something that has a 3-position switch for the rates. I don't have that because I got the DX6i. But low rate and high rate, even the high rate, has a pretty good amount of throw. It's just not enough to actually sustain like a hover. Alright, got the radio turned on. She's all initialized. You can see. And this is high rate on the rudder. And you notice it's got a pretty good amount of throw. But low rate is right there. That's all I got. Here's the elevator throw. This is high rate, and there's low rate. I'm kind of worried about that low rate. I may actually have to take off in high rate just to get a little bit more throw out of it, but who knows, it might work. Then you got the ailerons, there's high rate, and then there's low rate. And of course the motor. And I will tell you, this motor does have some power. Knock one of my planes off behind me off the wall. But guys, as you can see, the construction on this plane is relatively simple. It's a simple monocoat covering, balsa wood and plywood construction. Everything interlocks when fitting together. I've had 2 magnets come loose. On the canopy and on the front cowl, I will have to put some tape on it just in case so they don't come loose. The cowling will actually knock off pretty easy, as you can see right there. If that knocks off like that, that's going to affect flight performance. I don't have to tell you guys that. So I will be putting some tape on that. Just clear packing tape is all I'm going to put on it. It's all you really need. The wheel pants, I did have to kind of maneuver them around a little bit to get them to fit right with the wheels and everything. You do have to run the shims, and it doesn't leave you a lot of space on the axle. The construction, whenever I got this airplane, it was in a box in perfect condition. There's been a lot of reports of the rudder being broke and spars on the side of the fuselage being broke, and I found none of that. Everything was, I mean, it was pristine. So guys, I'm really looking forward to taking this thing out to the flying field and giving it a good maiden flight. It'll just be a simple, boring flight. I know you guys hate seeing those, but that's what it's going to be the first time. And then once I get used to how this plane's going to react and maneuver, then I'll start doing some things that are a little bit more on the stupid side, which you guys know me. I'm pretty much known for doing things that are just stupid. But if you take my name, turn it around backwards, you'll understand why. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to me. Come over and visit my website, www.rcHelpDotCom. Invite your friends over. The more people we get on there, the more fun we have. I hope to see you over there. Please rate and comment this video. We'll see you guys later.